Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 112th episode of Dragon Quest Slime Time, a Dragon's Den podcast. This is one of your hosts, Pendy.
And this is AustNeravar.
Aust, I need some help here. I think we need some help with our podcast titles.
They're pretty boring, huh?
Yeah, like this one, the Luminaries of the Lifestream interview with Dukey03. We need to punch it up a bit.
I got you. How about Wild Confessions with Dukey03?
That's a good start. Maybe something a little more?
Luminaries of the Lifestream Confession, Dukey03 Puff Puff Scandal.
Ooh, that's it. What do you think, Dukey03?
It's a bit much, even for me. Plus, I don't have a Puff Puff Scandal to talk about yet.
Oh, okay. I guess we'll go with the original title, I suppose. I know a slime or two if you want to get a good scandal going, though.
Today, we welcome YouTuber, podcaster, and streamer Dukey03 to the show.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. Glad to be here. I'm a long time. I used to listen to this podcast all the time. I used to drive so much for work, and they were my go-to podcasts, and this was one of them. So I'm super glad to be here.
That's awesome. So as we do with any new guest, we'll get to know their love of Dragon Quest first.
How did you first get into Dragon Quest? And side note, do we say Dukey03 or Dukey3? Because I've always said Dukey03 in my head.
So I always said Dukey03, and then people would search Dukey the letter 03, but I say Dukey03 now. Because it's the only way.
Yeah, I think I mentioned you like on my very first episode on this podcast back when I was talking about Dragon Quest X. Yeah, anyway, the actual question, how did you first get into the series?
Yeah, so it's kind of a funny story, I guess. But when I was like really little, my mom's a school bus driver, and so she couldn't like be with us in the morning to get ready for school and stuff. So she would take us to a babysitter, and the babysitter was like this massive family. They had like 1 billion kids, and one of the kids had Dragon Warrior on the NES. Like he had an NES, and he would play Dragon Warrior before school like every day, and we'd also have to go there after school until my mom got off work. So I would just always watch him play Dragon Warrior, and like I was way too young to know anything, but I just knew how freaking cool this game looked. So then it was like probably a year or so after I had first encountered it, I did finally get to play it once. I probably erased his save, as little kids always seem to do. And my parents ended up buying me Dragon Warrior a year or so later, and they were like, I always wanted to rent games that had a lot of reading in them, but I was way too young to be able to read yet. And my parents would always be like, "You can't play that. That's a reading game," they would always say. And they ended up caving and getting me Dragon Warrior, and I didn't care. I just loved my whole reason for like continuing to play was I loved to see the new monster designs, and I loved to want to see more of the world. I love to explore, and that's carried through to like every JRPG I've ever played since. Is exploration is like a huge part of why I love JRPGs, because Dragon Warrior was my first JRPG.
And that's why I love the HD 2D remakes, because there's more exploration to the world map.
Oh yeah.
I love finding the secret spots and finding all the sparkly items and all that. And there's so much more exploration to 3 and to, as we can see from the previews, 1 and 2 as well. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, dude, I spent way too many hours like just exploring. It was nice because I got to re-explore this world that I was already familiar with and loved. And it just like I streamed my whole playthrough, of course, and it was like I probably spent like 3 hours before I even got to like the magic bomb or whatever it's called now. And it was just funny because I was like, you're in like that first area before you get to Romilly, and I spent so many hours there, like probably like 5 hours probably before I got to Romilly, just because I wanted to explore every square like centimeter of the map. It was crazy.
Yeah, and what was great about that is that I never worried about being underleveled. I never had to grind, because just the natural exploration of looking for all the secret spots and all the sparkly items just naturally got you gold and levels. So it lent a lot of balance to the game if you did the exploration. I like that.
Yeah, I never even thought of that. Because I never felt underleveled really either, and
Yeah.
that's probably why. Because I'm like wandering around everywhere.
What is your favorite mainline game of the series?
So that's a tough one. It was 4 for almost forever because when I was like, I got 4 kind of when I could read. Like I I was old enough to finally read when I got Dragon Warrior 4.
Nice.
But not really old enough to like really know what was going on. But I still remember like all the characters. It's still probably one of my favorite cast of characters ever. And then I remember when I got my hands on Dragon Warrior 7, and that one really blew me away as well. And that was kind of my favorite for a little while. But now, after playing 11 and then kind of replaying the whole series, I think my favorite's 11 now, but 4 is like right behind it.
That makes sense. And both of those games, I would argue, have some of the best cast of characters in the Dragon Quest series as well. So that makes sense.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who say that 11 has become their new favorite in the series just because it's like it tapped into what all the others did so well and then turned it up to 11.
Yeah, they really did.
What's your favorite spin-off game?
My favorite spin-off is, so it's kind of funny. I did a top 10 Dragon Quest spin-offs game. I was like, I should probably rewatch that and see what my number 1 was, but I think it's Dragon Quest Heroes 2. That game's just so good. They did such a good job because I didn't really like the first one all that much. The first one just felt like and I like the Samurai Warriors games to a degree. But the first game just felt like a Samurai Warriors or Dynasty Warriors game with a Dragon Quest coat of paint on it. This Dragon Quest Heroes 2 really, to me, felt like a Dragon Quest game, like an action RPG Dragon Quest game. You had like a bit of exploration, right? You had the areas to explore. You had not only did you have like a bunch of job classes, but you also had like all these like weapon skill trees and all that too. Like the story was good. The new characters were pretty good, and it was just a really, really good Dragon Quest game, let alone like Dynasty Warrior style game. The only thing that really drives me nuts is there's the Thief's Key quest is an absolute nightmare. And I got it on my first playthrough, and then I did a new game plus because my friend wanted to play it, and you can kind of play co-op. It's kind of messy. I really wish if they do a Dragon Quest Heroes 3, I really hope they fix the way that the co-op works in it, because you can only do co-op for certain parts of the game. But anyways, I did new game plus with him, and little did I know it was gonna reset my my key items. Of course it was gonna, right? But I didn't know it was gonna take away the Thieves Key, so I still have to redo the Thieves Key quest. I think I spent like 2 hours trying to do it. It's like this shitty stealth mission in a game not meant for stealth, and I just hate that. And it's so bad, and I can't beat it again.
Yeah, I think that 2 was a definite improvement on 1 for a lot of the reasons that you said. They just added a lot of RPG elements to 2 that were not present in 1. And something that was annoying about 1 is there's a lot of tower defense in that game. So that can get annoying after a while. Like a little bit of tower defense is fine for that type of game, but when that's almost the entire game is all tower defense type missions, it just got annoying after a while. But yeah, I can see why you would like 2 better. And we'll talk about this later too, but I know you have that charity event coming up, and I saw the kind of like the punishments that you had for yourself if people donate enough money. And I saw that the Thieves Key mission was one of those punishments for yourself to do that again.
Yeah, if we raise a certain amount of money during our charity stream, I can't remember what it was, but I should probably pop it up for later in the episode here. But yeah, if we raise a certain amount of money, I'm gonna or at least try to do the Thieves Key quest during our 24-hour charity stream. So that'll be probably fun for people to watch.
Yeah, and I saw like one of the other ones was playing Lunar Dragon Song, and I was like, oh man, that's rough. I tried playing, I couldn't get through that game. I tried it, I was like, no, not
Dude,
for me.
It's painful enough to admit that game exists because the Lunar games are so good, and I just like try to pretend it doesn't exist. But yeah, it's too bad.
Well, hey, getting away from crappy games, let's get back to Dragon Quest. And what is your favorite Dragon Quest monster?
My favorite Dragon Quest monster. when I was a really little, no, because I feel like it's always kind of been this guy. So initially, right out of the gate, it was the Draki, because that was like when I was a little kid. Like I said, I couldn't read or anything, and I had seen a blue slime and I had seen a red slime, but that was all I had seen for like a long time. and then I went north, and I saw my first Draki, and I was like immediately in love with the Draki. So the Draki has a special place in my heart. But the green dragon is my favorite of all time. I absolutely love the green dragon. I was so stoked to see it again in like full like HD in Dragon Quest 11. Like, oh my god, dude, to see that in like full motion, fully realized in 3D was so good. I'm also at a point in Dragon Quest 10 now. I'm in like version 6, and I'm running into like the blue dragons. I don't know what they call them now. I think the Dread Dragon is the red one, but I don't remember what the blue ones are called now. And it looks so good in that as well, man. Like, I just love Green Dragons so much.
Yeah, that's a good choice. I always liked all the dragon ones, but I definitely see like the design of the green dragon is just classic.
Oh yeah, so iconic.
Yeah, dude.
So, who's your favorite Dragon Quest character?
Oh man, you guys are hitting me with all the hard questions. It's so
Too
tough.
many to choose from.
Oh, and like I said, like Dragon Quest 4, I could probably name off half of the cast or more, and they would all be my favorites. And the same honestly goes for like Dragon Quest 11. Like for me, if I had to, it's so hard. I'm gonna have to cheat here and go with a 3-way tie. I gotta go with Alina and Tornico from Dragon Quest 4, and I have to go with Eric from Dragon Quest 11. I literally cannot choose between the three. It's so hard. I can't do it.
Have you read the manga one shot that they did for Eric for 11S?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's you gotta look that up. I'll send you the link later because there is a fan translation for that one shot.
Yeah,
and it's the same manga author that did that's famous for Fairy Tale, I think, if I remember right.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's a nice little like side story for Eric, and it kind of he's in this particular garb costume, and that's one of the costumes. If you remember, you can get a bonus costume from Eric for 11S on the Switch, and that was from that manga. The little wolf costume furry thing that he had.
Oh, that was that wolf looking costume?
Yeah, exactly. That's from that manga.
That's cool. Yeah, I definitely have to check that out.
Yeah, I'll send that to you later. Now, we went over characters and monsters, but what is your favorite Dragon Quest game mechanics, such as casinos, job classes, monster collecting, arena fights, etc., etc.? What do you like the most when it comes to that type of stuff?
And so I obviously I love job classes, but I also my favorite it's funny because I say I love job classes, but all my favorite Dragon Quest games like don't have them. or you get them so late in the game, like Dragon Quest 7. But yeah. I think my top, and this is gonna sound dumb, I guess, is the Pachisi. And I was pretty bummed out.
No, that's not dumb.
When I found out they were taking that out of the HD 2D of Dragon Quest 3, I was pretty bummed out.
Yes. I was trying to organize a protest.
So you have a fellow brother in TNT love with Aust here.
Yeah, dude. It's so good. And it's in Dragon Quest 10 as well. So I like getting a group of friends together and just messing around playing Sugoroku or Pachisi or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, 10 is the best iteration of it out of all of them, in my opinion.
I like 3 on the Game Boy Color because you could cheese it, and like man, you could get such like ridiculous stat increases so early in the game.
I like the one that they did intact. I don't know if you played the one they did intact before.
No, I didn't play the one intact.
Well, yeah, it was pretty cool. Like it forced you to use like all of the monsters and characters that you had to play these huge TNT boards, and you would use your own monsters to do the battles as you went along. And it was a lot of fun. It was one of the nice little side quests that came into that game later on before it unfortunately got canceled. But we had it for like a good, I don't know, 6 months ish. That part of it, when we had it, the TNT boards, it was a lot of fun to do those.
Good. One thing I wished they would bring back to the series is like I love monster recruiting, but I think in 5, I don't like that like your whole party's monsters. I think Dragon Quest 8 did it the best because a lot of people, one of people's favorite things in like the Final Fantasy series is the summons, and to me, that's what the monster collecting in Dragon Quest VIII really felt like. You were like almost building like a summon party,
Oh yeah.
and I would really love that because then you still have room for a really good cast of characters, but you also can call on this party of monsters and use them in arenas and stuff. I really hope that like Dragon Quest 12 adds that, and I really was kind of hoping that the Dragon Quest 7 Reimagined was going to add that. They are adding like summon monsters, but it almost looks like it's just like your coup de grace type attack or something for that class, but we'll have to wait and see more maybe.
Well, if I remember that class from before, I think there was like several different monsters that you could summon to come and fight. And like in the preview trailers for this reimagined, it shows you summoning one of the monsters to do that. So, but we don't have enough details about that to say either way. So it'll be interesting to see how they do that.
So are there any previous Dragon Quest games you haven't played yet that you would still like to play?
I really want to play. Well, I want to finish. They did a remake of Dragon Quest 2 on the 3DS, and I played a lot of it, but I never finished it. And it was really good, but I never got a chance to finish it. But the one that I haven't played at all that I would love to play is the I think in Japan they're called Slime Mori Mori, like the Rocket Slime series.
Yes.
There's the I think it was the third one. It was also on the 3DS where you build like battleships and stuff. That one looked so good.
Yeah, there's a fan translation patch out there for it. I forget if we've interviewed quite a lot of people that have done translation patches for the DS and 3DS games. I forget if we did for that particular crew, but there is a patch out for it, and I still need to play it because I really like the one before that we actually got, Rocket Slime, where you battled with the tanks. And the new one that you're talking about, you battle with ships instead.
Yeah.
So but for it was like that was during like the dark period of Dragon Quest.
Second Dark Ages.
The second Dark Ages, exactly, because so many 3DS titles, including that one, we didn't get, so that kind of sucked. But next, we'll go into Dukey03's experience with his YouTube channel, his podcast, and streaming.
And so you started out as a game streamer. How and why did you get into that?
Actually, like a long time ago, we had a website. We did like game reviews and stuff. Our website was called blurryprawn.com. I think I still pay like $10 a year to have that website up, so you might be able to find it. And we used to do video game reviews and all that kind of stuff way back in like 2008, I want to say. And my grandpa's nickname was always Dukey, like Dukey, and the slang word for poop does not exist here in at least my region of Canada. So a lot of people make that joke, and it wasn't like a thing growing up. I never even heard of it until like the internet was like big and all that. But so my nickname was always Dukey, like even in real life. Like none of my friends, they'll either call me Duke or Dukey. Pretty much only my mom calls me by my real name. And so yeah, I was Dukey03, and my buddy Mike, who now goes by DG Online or Dad Gaming Online, he also did reviews and stuff with me. We did like a big podcast and all that, and then we all ended up just like moving away. Our lives got too busy, right? Like he ended up having like kids, and his brother, who we also did reviews and stuff with, he moved away and went to college and all that. So we kind of like called it quits for a few years. And then this actually ties into the charity stream, but we used to remember like Skype was like huge back in the day, right? And we would just hang out at night on Skype because we all moved so far. So I say so far away. We're like 2 hours away. It's not like ridiculous or anything, and we kind of just missed hanging out all the time. So we would just hang out online on Skype, just talking and playing games together and stuff. And then I somehow found a way to use my recording device that I would use to like record gameplay for my reviews. I somehow found a way to use that as my webcam in Skype. And I was just playing like a bunch of really bad Sega CD games, and it was my friend DG and his older brother Jason, aka Spectre, who passed away in 2018, and that's who our charity stream is in memory of. And anyways, it was the three of us, and I was just playing Marky Mark Make My Video
Oh God.
on the Sega CD. and we were just doing like commentary, and then I played like Tomcat Alley, which is another terrible Sega CD game. And Jason was actually the one that was like, dude, you should stream. Like, there's people that do this on the internet live and just play video games and have fun and talk to like their crowd and stuff. And he was actually the one that got me back into like making content, because there were years where I just didn't do any of that. I didn't have time, and I just didn't see like a way to do it. And he talked me into streaming, and that's how I ended up coming back as just Dukey03. And then a couple years later, 2018, my buddy Jason got real sick, and he ended up passing away from Crohn's and colitis. And his brother Mike, or DG Online, who I'm also really really good friends with, like we all went to high school together, right? So he used to play games with his brother Jason every night, and his brother wasn't there anymore. And I was like, well, that's basically what streaming is just playing games with your friends every night. And so he ended up starting streaming during 2020 because he had nothing really else to do, and now we both stream like whenever we can, and we have like a community and everything. So
That's so cool. So you said you got your nickname originally from your grandfather?
yeah. So my last name is Dukeshire, and you kind of have like a mild stroke when you try to spell it. So everybody just called him Dukey. And it just got passed on. I think my dad was Dukey, I'm Dukey. Yeah. And the 03 has two meanings, because or 03. So yeah, we were talking about this earlier. You were kind of asking if it's 03 or 03 or just 3. Forever I just said 03, and then people would search Dukey, the letter O, and then 3, and then they couldn't find me. So now I make sure I say 03. And it is 03 for two reasons. One, because my grandpa was Dukey, my dad was Dukey, and now I'm Dukey, so I'm the third technically. And then the other is because my dad, who not to bring the podcast down again, but my dad passed away from brain cancer when I was really young, and he like loved like NASCAR and stuff. I have like no interest in NASCAR, by the way, but he loved NASCAR and was like always watching racing, and his favorite race car driver was Dale Earnhardt, so he had like the 03 on his car. So that's the other reason why. Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
my nickname is very similar to yours, where it's just like basically a shortening of my last name, and where my dad had almost the same thing but a little bit different. So people call him Pendi, Pendi, and then I ended up randomly being called by people in middle school like, "Oh, we're just gonna call you Pendy, Pendy." That's where that mine came from. But same concept. It's like I have a longer last name that starts with Pend, and that it just went from like that to Pendi or Pendy. So interesting, very interesting.
Yeah.
And back to the streaming thing, just before we move on. I was gonna you sort of answered this for me earlier. I was gonna ask if you still played Dragon Quest X on stream, because that's how I learned about you. I think I watched you a few times and then like joined you in game once or twice.
Yeah,
like 5 years ago, I think.
Yeah,
like
so that was the first time I played. That would have been 2019. So the first time I played Dragon Quest X was before maybe Clarity existed, which is like the translation project and all that, but I didn't know about it. And I would stream Dragon Quest X. I think it was Saturday mornings, which is I still do. And I would translate everything to the best of my ability. I would have to like bust out my translator for like kanji I didn't know, and I would translate everything for like chat and the viewers and all that. And it just got to a point where like anyone who's never traveled to another country where you're the only person in your travel group that speaks the language, they wouldn't understand how mentally exhausting that is. Like I remember just ending my streams and just being absolutely exhausted, because you're using all that like brain energy to be constantly translating. Like kudos to people that immigrate to like English speaking countries and are just constantly translating 24/7 their whole lives, because I can barely do it. Like I'll go to Japan for like 3 weeks at a time, and I'm like so freaking exhausted because you're just constantly translating everything. But yeah, that's I did it for about a year, I want to say. And I think you showed up. You had had a closet mimic, and you wore Eric's costume, right?
Yeah, I wore that for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was back before Clarity existed. I used to just follow Nawaria's translation streams for most of the story stuff.
Yeah, Nawari is actually the reason I created a Twitch account, because I was like, I couldn't handle it that I hadn't played Dragon Quest X, and I was like, I need to experience it in some way. And then I heard of Nawaria, and then I was like, oh, I got to get this Twitch thing in order to watch. And that's how I ended up creating a Twitch account, like years before I even started streaming, just so I could watch Nawaria's Dragon Quest X streams. But yeah, I do still, to answer your question finally, I guess, I do still stream Dragon Quest X Saturday mornings when I can. Like, weekends are obviously like sometimes hit and miss with how busy I am, but so sometimes we'll go like a month without playing it, and then we'll be back to the, like, right now we're kind of back to the grind. Like, I'm trying to hit it every Saturday now. So
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely love Dragon Quest X. Probably my third favorite Dragon Quest game now.
Yeah, I agree. It's like, even in terms of just the entire series, it's up there in the top few.
Yeah,
we were just talking about this on the video that I did with you about unboxing that Happy Bag, that Dragon Quest Happy Bag, about how I want to get a Steam Deck and start finally playing Dragon Quest X that way, because there's guides out there now. And I think, Dukey, you're saying you have one of them out there as well, to how to play Dragon Quest X in English with the English tools. But I know there's a guide specifically out there for the Steam Deck now where you can do it as well. And if I get a Steam Deck, I definitely want to try Dragon Quest X and get through it, because like every new edition is pretty much an entire Dragon Quest, a full game. Yeah, exactly. And there's like, they're up to 7 or 8 now, and I need to play this.
Yeah, they really are. Like, it really is. Each expansion is its own 30-40 hour Dragon Quest game. It's impressive how much content there, and it's not like mediocre MMO writing either. Like, this is Dragon Quest writing.
Right.
Yeah,
that's what I've heard.
You have those MMO elements there if you want them, but overall it just feels like you're playing a Dragon Quest game. It honestly, I always say when people ask like what's Dragon Quest X, I don't really like MMOs. I always just say, like, did you enjoy Dragon Quest IX? Have you ever played Dragon Quest IX with your friends? If you did you love it? How about doing that when you don't have to be in the same room? Because that's basically the experience with Dragon Quest X. But probably even, I mean, not probably, definitely better storytelling in Dragon Quest X than in 9.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And with those clarity tools, it's so good right now, because all the different cutscenes are translated, not machine translated anymore. I think just like the in-game stuff might be machine translated, but like the actual cutscenes now are like specifically someone went in there and did like a almost a professional job, but a fan translation of those scenes. So now that most of that is translated, I definitely want to get into it.
Yeah, so the whole story, and dude, they're so fast. Like, kudos to the Clarity guys.
Mhm.
They'll release like a new expansion to the story, and Clarity Project will put out all these warnings like, "Hey, give us a couple weeks," and it's like it'll be like 2 days, and they have all of it perfectly translated, and it's like, oh my god,
Yeah,
I can't give them enough props.
an insane amount of work, and I would love to see what they've done. Kudos to them.
They recently did an update. I think it was like Dragon Quest X did an update, and it bricked Clarity for a bit.
Ooh.
But it was the freaking API that does the translations bricked Clarity for a bit. But then once they went in and did this update, Clarity, it turns out that they greatly enhanced the machine translation. So the machine translation used to be pretty jank, but up until about a month ago, starting about a month ago, now the like machine translation is like as good almost as the fan translation.
Wow.
So for people that don't know, the machine translation is like just generic NPC dialogue stuff, right? Like stuff in between the story points. And now it's like almost perfect too. So
Great.
it's I can't recommend it enough. Plus, like you said, I've got a guide on how to play Dragon Quest X in English for free on my YouTube channel. I kind of walk you through step by step. If you need help, always feel free to reach out to me. I literally just reinstalled it on my new laptop as well, so it's kind of fresh in my mind right now. And now's the perfect time to do it, because you used to have access to all of version 1, which is the original game at launch, plus version 2, which is like the second game, I'm gonna call it, up until like the final boss of the second game. Now they've expanded that all the way up to the final boss of the 4th game. So you're getting like 3.9 full Dragon Quest games for free in English with Dragon Quest X's trial version now.
Yeah, that's insane. That's great. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping I can try that out myself soon. With your streaming, whether you're streaming Dragon Quest X or any of the other numerous games that you've done in the past, what do you think are the most challenging and most rewarding aspects of streaming?
Most challenging is my internet not crapping like crapping out. Like
Oh,
it's so random
huh.
and I have so many issues, man. It's brutal. I just got a new modem and it's been working good, and then literally last night, we're like a week out from our charity stream and it started like dropping the stream and stuff, and
Mm.
it's like it's so frustrating. I have no idea why it's happening. My internet service provider says they have no idea why it's happening. That is definitely the most frustrating thing when it comes to streaming. The most rewarding thing is just hanging out with friends online, man. Like people tune in to come hang out and while I play video games, and I'm sure they're also playing video games, and it's just I grew up with like a lot of my friends and we love JRPGs, and when I was really young, you would go over to a friend's house and you'd play like Double Dragon, right? You'd play like co-op games, Streets of Rage, or you'd play like TMNT 2 on the NES.
Oh yeah.
But then as we got older, all my friends were really into JRPGs. So what we would essentially do, I would go over to my friend's house, and my friend, because we had like no money, right? Like we would alternate. We would like list out for the year what games we wanted to play, and then we would stagger our purchases. So I would buy this game and my friend would buy like Final Fantasy X, right? So then I'd go over to his house and watch him play Final Fantasy X, and we'd like take turns playing and watching each other play. And then he'd come over to my house and we'd play like Dark Cloud 2 or something like that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So streaming is essentially just that, but to like multiple people. You're just hanging out while playing a game together.
At some point, your YouTube content evolved from reposts of your streams to content about various games. Why did you start doing that?
Yeah, so that was like I said, we used to do like a ton of reviews and stuff back in the day, and I had no time. I was working like a really crappy job where I would get there at like 7 in the morning and then find out that people weren't showing up for their shift, so I'd be stuck there till like 9 p.m. So I couldn't work on videos and stream, and even like my streaming schedule was like really up in the air all the time because I was constantly like flaking out, right? Because I all of a sudden I have to work till like 9 p.m. and I had a plan to stream at 7. But then I ended up getting a better job and I just had more time. I could get back to like actually making content, making videos and stuff. But really, I used to do my favorite thing to do back when we had our website was just top 10 videos. I just love doing top 10 videos. It's my favorite thing to do. And what really made me get back into like making those was there's a YouTube channel or a YouTuber or whatever content creator called David Vink. David Vink JRPGs, I think he goes by now.
I've seen his videos. Yeah.
Yeah, and like years and years ago, I used to always like work out on my lunch breaks, and I would just play David Vink's top 10 videos in the background while I was working out. And then it was just he had no cam or anything, and like I didn't have like a webcam for years to be like actually on screen, and I was like, "You know what? If this guy can do it, like and I love his content so much, maybe I should give it another try and see how that goes." So that's kind of what made me pull the trigger and actually get back to like making actual YouTube videos and stuff again.
So we just collabed on a video featuring those Dragon Quest Happy Bags that I mentioned before. Do you want to explain what those are and what did you think of what you got?
Yeah, so it's just like I don't know, I called it like a loot box because it's just like
Basically.
a bunch of random Dragon Quest items and that came from Japan, which was cool. and I was super happy with what I got. Like, I got that stone golem,
Yeah.
which is like gigantic. And the best part is, I was like, the whole time I was like, man, where the heck am I gonna put this? Because I've like a shelf with a bunch of my Dragon Quest stuff on, but I was like not expecting to get something that massive. But then I stood up because I can see the shelf from where I'm sitting, but the shelf is really high up, so I can't see behind the like gigantic amount of Dragon Quest loot on the shelf. But then I went up and looked over there and I was like, there's this perfect hole for the stone golem. So I put him in there. Yeah, dude, I could have just got that stone golem and I would have been happy. And yeah, all the stuff that came with that, it was great.
Yeah, we got that's because I got the stuff still in front of me. We got like the oven mitts. We basically got the same stuff, but like different variations of it. So like I got like the
Yeah.
Dracky oven mitt. You had like a metal slime oven mitt. We both got like different crystal slimes. We had the Keshi Keshi, the erasers. I had like the bomb Craig. What did you had Princess Gwalen. That was cool.
Yeah, yeah,
And
the
then
Princess
and then,
Gwalen
like, while you mentioned the
eraser thing.
stone golem, I ended up getting Zoma, so that was awesome. And we
Yeah.
got a whole bunch of other stuff too. I think we both got volumes of the Avon manga and some other little things. It was a good time. I really liked coming on
Yeah.
your show and doing that video. It was fun. And we didn't open it up until we were on video. I had it, sitting in my house unopened, and that was the first time to see everything. That was cool.
Yeah, I was getting antsy to open that up for sure. It was nice, it was nice to finally open it.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, like I mentioned it in the video, but I gotta say, like, shout out to you for the idea of actually just doing an unboxing video. Cause I had ordered it and then I remember you reached out to me and then I was like, yeah, dude, I actually ordered that. And you were like, we should do an unboxing video together and then have you on the podcast. And I was like, dude, that'd be freaking awesome.
Oh,
So
yeah, it was just perfect timing because like I'd been thinking about getting you on the show to do an interview, and then that happy bag came about. I was like, oh, now we can do a collab where I can go on your show, we can maybe do this, and then you can come on our show and we'll interview you. It just worked out perfectly.
yeah, dude.
So what's been your favorite video you've put together, either Dragon Quest or anything else?
So there's and I think a lot of content creators know this. It's like the dark secret of the content creator. The videos you love to make the most and the ones that you put the most effort into are generally the ones that do the worst. So my favorites are, I have a series where, and I'm currently working on the 4th iteration of this. So anyone listening or watching this, please check these videos out to make me feel like I didn't waste years of my life. But I do a series called Dragon Quest versus Final Fantasy, and I take every entry and pit them against each other. So the first one is obviously Dragon Quest 1 versus Final Fantasy 1, and then the second one was Dragon Quest 2 versus Final Fantasy 2, and then Dragon Quest 3 versus Final Fantasy 3. I'm currently working on the Dragon Quest 4 versus Final Fantasy 4 one, which is was so difficult to choose a winner. So I had to change my judging criteria to force myself to come up with a winner, because like Dragon Quest 4 is like my second favorite Dragon Quest game, and Final Fantasy 4 is tied as like my favorite Final Fantasy game. So it was really, really hard to pick a winner on that one. But I go into like the details of kind of what the game was when it came out, and then I go through it. For the first 3 iterations, I went through every single like story point in both of the games, and then kind of compared and contrast them and decide which one is the better of the two, kind of thing. And I got a lot of comments saying like, it's not fair, Dragon Quest came out like way before Final Fantasy 1, and I'm like, dude, wait till we get to the 8th iteration. Like Dragon Quest 8 came out way after Final Fantasy 8, so it'll all even out. And besides, I'm not one of those guys that's like, this game's older so it's crappier, right? Like it's yeah, it's a lot of work goes into it. It's probably about like 6 months of work before the video comes out, and they usually bomb, but those are my favorite ones. My other favorite one is kind of a really dumb one. I think it's just called Final Fantasy 15 is the greatest game of all time. It's a joke video because I love fishing mini games and JRPGs, and the entire video is just me trying to convince the viewer that Final Fantasy 15 is actually a fishing game. Not only that, but it is the greatest fishing game ever made.
Oh, that's funny. What do you? Does anyone know off the top of their head like what was the first RPG that did a fishing game. Was it Breath of Fire?
Oh man,
That's the first one that comes to my mind.
there was like those River King JRPGs, but those were just like straight up fishing
Yeah.
JRPGs, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what would be the first. Because yeah, the original Breath of Fire had a terrible fishing minigame. You just go to a well and hit A basically, and that was the minigame. But that might be, I don't know.
That might have been the one that started it all. And now it's like a requirement for almost every JRPG. Like you must have a fishing game, doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah, some people hate them. I love them. Dude, Dragon Quest X has such a good fishing minigame. The amount of my Dragon Quest X streams that just devolve into me fishing for 3 hours.
Yeah. It helps that it plays the Dragon Quest VII battle music.
Oh,
Yeah, dude, the fishing in Dragon Quest X is just turn-based combat against the fish. Like it's legit. Yeah, it's so good, man.
I was trying to think, when did Breath of Fire come out?
I'm not sure, but
It
that
would have
was
been early Super NES.
yeah, exactly. It was a early Super Nintendo
Really
title.
early.
Yeah,
Link's Awakening had fishing. Does that count as an RPG?
it depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
I don't consider it, but I would still say like as a fishing minigame in a game,
Yeah.
that would be pretty early.
Yeah.
That
might
was
be really cool.
1993.
I feel like Breath of Fire 1 would have to be earlier because, like, no offense to Breath of Fire fans, but Breath of Fire 1's kind of crappy. Like, it feels very like NES game on a Super Nintendo.
It's kind of rough, and I think that was the one that had the horrible translation at the time too. That didn't help as well.
Yeah, I heard 2 on the Super NES had a bad translation. Like, there were parts apparently in Breath of Fire 2 where the yes and no are translated improperly. My friend told me.
And surprised me. We noticed you also do a podcast called Relaxed Retro Talk with Dad Gaming Online, another fellow streamer, which you have gone into the past on talking, how you met him, how you're good friends and all that. How did that podcast specifically come about?
Yeah, so we used to have a podcast on our old website. I'm not even gonna say the name of the podcast because it was so bad. But we would just talk about like new games and retro games and stuff. And now we're getting up there in age. So we mostly talk about, honestly, it started by us. We would just hang out in like a Discord chat, right? Like a Discord call, just talking about stuff. And I was like, we should just record this. So if you actually go back, we'd be playing video games, sometimes together and sometimes just on our own. And that's honestly how our old podcast started too, now that I think about it. But you could if you ever dig up our old original podcast, it's just me playing Shadowrun on the Genesis for like an hour and a half while we're talking. But so our first for Relaxed Retro Talk, first probably like 10 episodes kind of like suck. And it's just me and him playing like Super Mario World while talking. And that's kind of the first, like, I don't know, 10 or 11 episodes. What they really started to take off, I think it was like episode 14. We started doing the growing up with kind of sub-series of the podcast. And we talked about growing up, like our memories growing up with each console and handheld that we played throughout the years. And I think it really resonated with like the listeners and viewers because all of a sudden like the views and stuff went up a little bit more. So
yeah, that sounds good. What episode was that?
You'll know. If you go back and the views go from like 60 to like 100 and some, but it'll say like growing up with, I think the first one we did was growing up with I don't know if we started with Atari, but probably starting with the NES, growing up with the NES. And then we did like the Master System. We did the Genesis, the Super NES, all that stuff. We went through every single console. I think the last one we did was like PS3 or Xbox 360 because we were like, by this point, we're grown up. Like, there's no growing up with these consoles. We were grown ups by the time we played these. But yeah, no, we did a ton of those, and people seem to like those episodes. So now we're doing, and we haven't. I don't think we've started it yet. But what our plans are for the future of the podcast is we're gonna stick with the growing up motif, but we're gonna do each genre. So we're gonna do JRPGs and go through in order, like what ones really like hit home with us, which ones we remember playing as kids, and then through like our teen years and all that. And same with like first person shooters, beat 'em up games, action platformers. We basically just wanted to hang out and talk about retro games and the games, and even a little bit of new games. If there's something we're really, really liking, we would bring that up as well. Like the Xenoblade Chronicles games we talked about quite a bit and all that stuff.
So your mascot is a Dragon Quest slime with a helmet from Proto Man's helmet from the Mega Man series. And you also have a nice little intro from for the Luminaries of the Lifestream. Did you do the art for these, or did you have it commissioned?
Oh God, no, man! I am the worst artist.
I feel you.
The original, I don't know if you've ever seen my original little avatar.
Mm-mm.
It's just like, if you just type into Google and types Dragon Quest slime, and it's like this really kind of crappy JPEG of a slime drawn out, and then I put a little toque on him and some sunglasses and a goatee, and that was the original. It's so bad. So now I call that iteration, I call him Cool Guy Slime. And then I came up with Proto Slime, which is that exact same crappy JPEG of a slime, but I contorted a Proto Man helmet on top of it, and it was that for quite a few years. And then finally there was this guy, I don't know if he's in the Dragon Questers Facebook group or not,
Oh,
but
okay.
it was one of the Facebook group, Dragon Quest Facebook groups, and he was playing the Dragon Quest games for the first time, and every time he would beat one, he would do up like a picture with all the characters that he liked from it.
Oh, I know who you're
And
talking
then he would
about.
just have them.
Yes.
Yeah, his name's Brian Ellis.
Yeah. So he did that on slime posting and Dragon Questers. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. And I saw those, and I reached out to him, and I really like the way his a lot of the characters looked. Like I liked his style, where it's like it's 2D, but it's almost looks kind of like 3D, like it's got some depth to it. And so I was like, hey, would you be willing to do I call them Proto Slime. Would you be willing to redo my Proto Slime? Because like my Proto Slime looked terrible. Like I said, it was just like two JPEGs glued to each other, basically. And he was like, yeah. And he only wanted like $20 or whatever. And I was like, dude, you're the best. And so he did that for me, and I'm very happy with it. For the Luminaries of the Lifestream, it's like an intro, or I think I use that as an outro more so now. It was actually my buddy Dad Gaming Online, DG Online. He did that. He loves doing, I don't know if he loves doing, I guess I shouldn't say. He's good at doing like animation in like editing and stuff. And I had the idea of the logo with because he grew up playing Final Fantasy VII, was kind of his big introduction to JRPGs, and mine, despite being the original Dragon Warrior, the one that really, really hooked me into the series initially was Dragon Warrior 4. Like that game was my life. That was like the first game where like I wake up early before school to play it, think about it all day while I'm at school, and then can't wait to get home and play it all day after school. So the Zenithian sword, which is my favorite weapon ever, had to be in it. So I did it was a toss up between the Zenithian sword crossing with the Monado from the Xenoblade Chronicles series, or the Zenithian sword crossed with the like Buster Sword from Final Fantasy VII, and we decided on the Buster Sword. So that was always going to be the logo, and then he was like just screwing around one night, and he made like this little animation, and I was like, dude, what if we added like sound effects to it? So I got the level up noise from Dragon Quest. He got the slash noise from Final Fantasy VII, and then I think that's what the noises were or whatever. But yeah, and made like this cool little animation. He did such a good job of that, man.
Yeah, and going back to Brian LS, that he did some great art, because he would play every Dragon Quest game in order, and then once he was done with the game, then he would do art for that game, and he would post that on Facebook, and that was really fun to see him go through the whole series and then do the art based off of each game in the series as he went through it. It was cool, and I think he's a good guy to go to for Dragon Quest X as well, because he plays a lot of that these days.
Yes. Yeah, he was playing. He actually reached out to me. I think he was playing before. Like, I don't know. I don't think he used my guide. I don't know if I had my video guide out yet. And then I think we talked a bit about. We definitely talked a bit about Dragon Quest X, because we were like both kind of gushing over story points and stuff. And he was playing like hardcore. like he caught up to me pretty quick because I only play at most once a week, right, for like a couple hours a week, and then he did end up kind of blowing past me, so I haven't talked to him in a while because I don't want to like spoil anything. But yeah, I messaged him a few times. He was playing with his wife, which is pretty cool
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a few different people in the community that do that, where they play Dragon Quest X with their significant other, and that's really cool to see.
Yeah, it's awesome. I played Dragon Quest 9 with my wife,
Oh, that's
and it
cool.
was good. It was her first Dragon Quest, but she ended up tapping out because she hated having to change her armor every time she went to a new town.
That's funny. My wife is starting to get a little bit into Dragon Quest as well. We're both signed up for that beta for Smash Grow. We both
Oh,
got in. I'm doing the English version. He's
nice.
doing the Korean version because that's her main language. And it would be
Oh, I
very
guess.
interesting if that game ends up having like guilds and stuff like that. So then we could play that together if they have any kind of multiplayer to it. Because I have no idea if they do or not.
Yeah, I hope they add some kind of multiplayer because that was the only reason I really played that Dragon Quest of the Stars was because the multiplayer was kind of fun.
Yeah.
Another game, actually, my wife and I, we got to play Dragon Quest VR when we were in Japan, and
Oh,
that was, yeah, dude, that was so
I
good.
played that too. That's
I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I want to try that more than anything else.
It was so good, and, like, that was I think I don't know if she played 9 with me first and then that. I think so. I think she played 9 with me first, but she was even like, "Holy crap!" Because it's like it's not like your crappy, like, VR arcade that we have
no.
here. They have, like, this giant
Yep.
gymnasium that you're, like, in, and, like, everything looks like it looks like you are in the world of Dragon Quest. I just remember as soon as it got turned on, I knew my wife was behind me, so I don't know, have you had someone on the podcast talking about Dragon Quest VR or not
Yes, and
really?
I played it myself actually, so I know exactly what you're talking
Okay,
about.
awesome. Yeah. So she was the mage and I was the second warrior, which worked out perfect because I
Mhm.
got the Zenithian sword.
Mm.
And just as soon as it got turned on, I just remember I looked behind me and I was like, "Oh my god!" And she was looking at me and she was like, "Oh my god!" And then when they used the zoom spell, I almost like fell over every
Ah,
time though, because you just get like your feet start glowing and you just rocket into the sky, and I was like, "Oh my god!" But it was yeah. So those are the only ones that she played
that one I
with me.
played by myself, and they put me with this random Japanese family, this father and two little kids. The oldest kid was okay, but the youngest kid was horrible. So we died on the final boss, but
Yeah, we died on him too.
it was so much fun, and
Yeah, it was so good.
it was good. I don't think I'm pretty sure it doesn't exist anymore because that
No.
whole VR part got shut down for
Oh,
whatever
man.
reason.
I don't know why they don't move it to Dragon Quest Island. I think
Yeah,
that's
that'd be a
silly that
great
they
place
haven't
for
done
it.
that.
And like in it, that
Yeah.
was like and it had been in a different place. It started out in I think Shinjuku, and then it got moved to Ikebukuro, to a mall in Ikebukuro. And
Oh.
I was lucky that I even got to play it because I saw that was shut down in Shinjuku. I didn't know where it had moved to. But then I went to a Gundam store out in Diver City Mall where they have the big life-size Gundam out
Oh,
there.
yeah.
And they had an
Yeah.
advertisement for the Dragon Quest VR park out in Ikebukuro. I was like, oh, it's just moved. Okay, so now I can go play it. So I got very lucky that I was able to still play it. And but some other
Yeah.
stuff I got to play with my wife. My first wife, we played Dragon Quest the Real out at Universal Studios Japan, which is kind of semi VR ish, but had like real elements to it.
Oh.
And then there's the Dragon Quest Island. I did that with my now wife and with Liam Land and his son, and that was so much fun playing that together as a party.
That would be awesome. I haven't been to Dragon Quest Island. I don't know if it didn't exist yet the last time I was in Japan or if it was there, but we were just so busy we couldn't go. But that next time I go, I definitely have to go to that
Oh, it is
because I
yeah,
yeah.
it is the number one place to go to for a Dragon Quest experience now, by far, for anything that's in Japan.
Do you think Dragon Quest VR was better than Dragon Quest Island, or which is better?
I would say like Dragon Quest VR was technologically was the most amazing thing I've seen when it comes to Dragon Quest. But I think
Dude, that was like the most amazing experience of my life. I'm gonna say it was like, oh my
I
god.
would say the experience overall of being able to like explore a town and do fights and basically just go on your own little RPG adventure. It's just a little bit better, but I love the island even more so than the VR, even though the VR was so good.
Oh, okay, sweet.
Yeah.
It's good to know.
Now, here's a harder question for you. What do you think of the state of Dragon Quest these days? Like, are you looking forward to the upcoming remakes, and any worries or concerns about, just the state of Dragon Quest in general?
So it's funny. I did a video, I want to say like a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, and it was called Dragon Quest Fans We Eatin' Good.
Mm.
And it was like it was like when Dragon Quest Treasures came out. And I was like, okay, everybody shit on Treasures. I like Treasures, and I understand why people don't like it. But I was the reason I made that video was because I grew up through both Dragon Quest Dark Ages, and the fact that we got Treasures, I feel like, is a huge, huge deal. Because if this were 3DS era, we wouldn't have got it
Probably
at all,
not.
right?
Probably not.
Like, so to me, the fact that we got a game like Dragon Quest Treasures, it just meant so much to me. Like okay, we're in. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's everything's coming now. Like, we're not gonna get pushed under the rug. We're gonna be included in all Dragon Quest releases. And now, like like I said, I released that video like a year or 2 years ago. Now we're even better. Like, we had a Dragon Quest 3 HD2D remake, which was absolutely incredible. Dragon Quest 3 The Dark Prince, which is a freaking spin-off of Dragon Quest 4, which is like one of my favorite games of all time. So damn good. Really love that game. And then, of course, we've got Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD2D coming out this month. We've got Dragon Quest 7 Reimagined coming out in February, which was my third favorite game until I got to version 5 of Dragon Quest 10. We're just like getting showered by love from Yuji Horii and the other developers of Dragon Quest. As far as the future, I have done a few videos, like with educated guesses, I guess I should say, as to where the future is going to go, who the future scenario writer will most likely be, and definitely check out that video if you want more details. But I'm 99.9% sure it's going to be the guy. He wrote Dragon Quest Heroes 2. He also has written everything in Dragon Quest 10 since version 2. Anyone who's played version 2 is like, if you've only played version 2, you're like, this guy kind of sucked. But literally everything after version 2 is like a masterpiece. Like, it's so good. The storytelling's so good. The new characters he's introducing are so good. Like, there's nothing but blue skies ahead, is all I'm gonna say. Even when Yuji Horii decides to pack his bags, which I don't think he ever will. I think he'll pass away before he retires. I don't think he'll ever step away.
No, I
because he
agree.
loves it. He loves it too much.
Yeah, it's his baby. He doesn't want to give it up, and which is fine, because I'm not. I don't have any complaints. And like you said about like eating good overseas as well, the fact that they right from the get go included us with Smash Grow, the fact that they're now publishing the
the Mark of
Erdrick
manga as well. I gotta say, so I listened to your guys' interview with the translators, and it was an awesome podcast, by the way. That was really good. I really liked that. They did well. I can't say if they did a phenomenal job. I'm assuming they did. I haven't read it yet. I finally got it, like just like the other day.
Oh, good.
So I got to go through and read it. I read the fan translation, but yeah. Anyways, it missed opportunity to just call it Emblem of Erdrick. To me,
it's the alliteration.
Yeah. But I think in the games they call it Mark of Erdrick now.
That's why.
So
yeah,
that's probably why.
Yeah, because as you heard on the podcast, the translator did a run through of HD2D to make sure that all the terms were correct, that they weren't using the new terms that they do now. After the many different,
you just gotta love and appreciate when somebody that's working on a project just engrosses themselves in the franchise that project is based around. You gotta respect the hell out of that.
Definitely.
So do you have any advice for any up and coming streamers, podcasters, YouTubers?
Man, that's a tough one, because it's brutal. Like, you definitely, it's hard because you'll put a lot of love and work into a project, and it will absolutely bomb. And then every now and then you'll put no effort into a project and it'll take off like crazy. And it's just the weirdest thing. You can't, here's how I always, and it goes back to the fact that I love fishing mini games, I guess. But to me, content creation, like YouTube videos and streaming is like fishing. You literally, you can have the best rod, you can have the best lures, right? You got to have proper equipment and you got to know the right spots to fish or promote yourself. But at the end of the day, it all like there's a lot of luck involved. You know what I mean? You got to be okay with going out there on the lake and not catching anything. You got to just enjoy the grind, which Dragon Quest has taught me that I love the grind. So you got to enjoy the grind or you're going to be mentally crushed, because it is not an easy thing to do. But that being said, I think everybody, if you have any interest at all in streaming or doing like YouTube content, go and do it, man. It's just fun. Have no expectations, and you're gonna meet so many people that you're gonna end up becoming friends with. And that's honestly why I do it, is number one, to let more people know about Dragon Quest, to get more people into Dragon Quest, and number two is to find more people with similar interests that I can become friends with. So spoiler alert, everyone that ended up joining my Discord, subscribing to my channels, I basically just swindled you into becoming my new friend.
Nice.
That's what it all boils down to for me.
Swindle.
So any big projects on the horizon that you want to talk about?
Yeah, so there's a few. Of course, number one, we got our 24/7 charity stream called Spectre Fest in memory of our good friend and brother Jason, aka Spectre. Goes down October 18th, so this Saturday. Starts at 10 a.m. my time. I say my time. I live in a province in Canada called Saskatchewan. We do not have daylight savings time. It is an absolute nightmare because I never know when other time zones are in daylight savings time or not, because I've never experienced daylight savings time myself. But anyways, it starts at 10 a.m. and goes until 10 a.m. the following day. We've got a ton of great games planned. And it's always a blast every year. All the donations go towards Crohn's and Colitis Canada, which have been awesome to deal with. We've been doing this, I think this is the 5th year. I think 2021 is the first year we did it. And it's just, every year it goes by quicker than the last. I don't know if it's just because we're like more prepared or like used to it or whatever. But the way we do it too is we split it into several, I think 6-hour blocks. I'm really bad at math, but I go from like 10 a.m. till I think 4 p.m. and then DG Online or Dad Gaming Online goes from 4 p.m. till 10 or till 10 p.m. And then I pick up what I like to call the shitlord hours of the night from 10 p.m. till like 4 a.m. And I usually schedule a ton of really bad games during that block, because at least if I'm laughing, I'm not sleeping. So that's kind of my priority there. But yeah, we are. You can watch the stream either on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Dukey03, or you can go on the Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Dukey03, or you can go to his channel as well. But it'll be up for 24 hours straight, and we've got a ton of like donation goals. And this year, our main goal, so throughout the 4 years that we've done it so far, we are less than $2,000 from raising a grand total of $20,000 for Crohn's and Colitis Canada. And every time they hit a $10,000 mark, it goes to a research grant towards like finding a cure or treatment for Crohn's and colitis. So this will, if we really want to hit that $2,000 mark again this year, because if we do, then we know that the Crohn's and Colitis Canada will be paying for another research grant. And it's so cool to me to know that like I've funded one research grant, but to fund 2 research grants for Crohn's and colitis research, is just like blows my mind completely that we were able to do something like that. But yeah, the other projects, of course, I kind of mentioned it. I've got my Dragon Quest 4 versus Final Fantasy 4 video. I have no idea when this is going to get out. I've been like editing like crazy, but it takes a long time to do these ones. I've got some behind the scenes on the making of Dragon Quest 2 and 1. So it's 2 separate videos. I have one for Dragon Quest 2 coming out, I want to say like next week, and then Dragon Quest 1 the following week, and it's all behind the scenes, how they were made, the process of them, why Dragon Quest 2 was as bad as it was when it first came out. The developers go into kind of high detail as to why it was such a mess. And then with Dragon Quest 1, I go into detail how the developers all met each other, how they ended up stumbling into making a RPG, and the whole journey of it getting made. So I hope you guys look forward to that as well.
When and where can we find you streaming?
Yeah, so I'm usually streaming every Tuesday and Thursday night is kind of my mainstream time at 7 p.m. I want to say like Mountain Time. I'm either Mountain Time or I'm Central Time, depending on what part of the year we're at. But 7 p.m. till 9 p.m. I usually play JRPGs. Right now it's October, so I've been playing through the Ghosts and Goblins series, but I usually try to spooky things up a bit in October here. But of course, as soon as Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD2D comes out, that'll be my primary focus. And then on Saturday mornings is usually my Dragon Quest 10 streams. We are balls deep into version 6 right now, which is like the 6th game, so I've been enjoying that. And then Sunday nights, I always do co-op streams. So it's usually me and my buddy Fates, and we're usually playing. We're playing everything, man. We played through a bunch of the Contra games most recently, but we both love JRPGs, so we will circle back to some co-op JRPGs. There's not a whole lot of co-op JRPGs. We did do Dragon Quest 9, a full co-op playthrough, though, a couple years ago, and that was a blast. But you can find me at twitch.tv/Dukey03 or youtube.com/@Dukey03.
That's all for this episode of Slime Time. We'd like to thank Dukey03 for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me, man. It's honestly like, you guys might not realize it, but it's been a dream of mine to be on Slime Time, because I used to, like I said, I used to listen to this podcast all the time, and it's just you guys always manage to dig up the most interesting people to interview that some people might not even think to interview. So us Dragon Quest fans really appreciate it. So thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for the compliments. We appreciate it. And it was so great to have you on. But we're a non-profit podcast. We won't blind box your hard-earned gold when we can offer you quality content for free. But if you do have some extra gold that's just completely burning a hole in your wallet, pouch, bottomless bag, hanging wall sack, or treasure chest, and you would like to donate anything to a website that's been supporting Dragon Quest fans for over 25 years, stop by the Dragon's Den by clicking the link in the show notes. There are several ways to support the Den, including the affiliate links that don't cost you anything extra when making other Dragon Quest purchases, especially the upcoming Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D remake, new upcoming manga volumes of The Adventure of Dai, and of course, the Mark of Erdrick manga as well.
We have multiple Slime Time t-shirt options that were designed by our resident artist, Dwayne. See the link for it in the show notes.
You can direct comments or questions for the podcast on X, Blue Sky, and Instagram at DQ Slime Time. Join in tons of Dragon Quest discussion at the Dragon's Den forums or Discord, the Dragon Questers and Slime Time Facebook groups, and the brand new Dragon Questers Discord.
Please like, subscribe, and write a review for the podcast.
Dragon Quest Slime Time, sliming off.
This is goo-reat for Slime Time, reminding you all that you must complete your adventure.